I think it's about time that I show off my cassette collection because I got a lot of them now. I've been going to flea markets, but I went to a uh, record store where they sold cassettes as well, and I've been buying them off Amazon, and I got a pretty good collection. So I want to show them off. So we're gonna start off with ABBA Gold, the greatest hits. So funny thing is I didn't know what ABBA was, but I was hungry for cassettes. So I went on Amazon. I just looked up cassettes, and this was one of the first ones I looked up. So I said, "All right, well, I don't know what ABBA is, but I'll give it a listen to. Maybe I might like it enough to get a cassette." And you know what? I fell in love. Uh, Almost all the songs on here are just super, super catchy. Something that I can just listen to like anytime. So yeah, I didn't even know I would like that. It was just completely random that I was just like, oh, okay, I'll choose that. Next, we have another Amazon one, and a good one at that. Okay, I love that this cassette is still available to buy. The Charlie Brown Christmas soundtrack. It's so cool. You can buy this today. It's like $10. It is so cool that they're still selling this. This is such a nice cassette. I love the original art of a Charlie Brown Christmas, and the music is just so good. I love the Charlie Brown music. Just so peaceful. It's got a nice vibe to it. So it was really cool to get that one. And I'm gonna make it. I got it last Christmas, and I'm gonna make it a tradition to listen to it every Christmas. So next up on the Amazon list, a lot of these are Amazon, but I do, I'll let you know which ones are in art. So another Amazon one, Bjork, Homogenic. So here's my problem with albums, and especially later on in this video, you'll definitely notice it. But with albums, it's always a situation of I like a few songs on the album, but I don't like the whole album. Which is why, for the longest time, I just use streaming. You can pick and choose what song you want to listen to. So in the case of this, Joga is incredible. It was actually it was actually my most listened to song on Spotify last year. I think it said I listened to it like 157 times last year. There it goes. So Joga's awesome. I don't really care for anything else. It's okay. Nothing particularly great, nothing particularly bad. But you'll see that later. This was one that I got at a flea market. Bon Jovi, New Jersey. So again, there are songs I like on this. Bad Medicine, Born to Be My Baby. I know those. Those are good songs. I don't really care about the rest that much. Again, just okay. Again, so it's like still cool to have though. Out of all the Bon Jovi albums, this was kind of the one that I know the most, at least from the imagery. So cool stuff. Another flea market pick, Dokken, Under Lock and Key. I like a couple Dokken songs. And by that I mean literally. I think there's two. there's Dream Warriors and some other song that I completely forgot about. But none of them are bad by any means. It's just another okay. But it's cool to have a Dokken album. So there you go. This one I got at my most recent flea market. Earth, Wind, and Fire, Greatest Hits Live. I did not know that it was live until I actually bought it. No, sorry, I didn't know it was live until an hour after I bought it. Back when I got home, I realized that it said live. Which actually, to an extent, I actually kind of like the live part. Each song flows so fluently. Like sometimes I don't even notice when one song's ends and another song starts because of how just equally it flows. However, sadly, so I bought this because of September. I know that song. I like it. I've never listened to any other Earth, Wind, and Fire song. So I was like, you know what? Great excuse to listen to it. Turns out I don't like Earth, Wind, and Fire. September is still the only song I like from them throughout this entire album of 18 songs. It's September is the only song I actually enjoyed. I really don't like when he hits the high notes. It hurts my ears, and it just sounds like just a sound that I don't want to hear of a guy just screaming high notes, like the highest possible notes you can do. And he does that a lot in this album. So yeah, it kind of stinks. It turns out I'm not an Earth, Wind, and Fire fan. Oh well. I like September. This was an Amazon pickup. Whenever I was thinking of getting cassettes, it was actually the first one I picked up. Guardians of the Galaxy Awesome Mix Volume 1. Makes sense. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. I love the soundtrack for the first movie. I've seen the first movie countless times. So it's kind of obvious that I would immediately go for this one. And, of course, it's got some, fantastic tracks. Hooked on a Feeling, I Want You Back, Ain't No Mountain High, So, Come and Get Your Love, Cherry Bomb, Escape. Just a really, 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 fantastic soundtrack. And when I found that, I'm like, no way! Not only can I get Guardians of the Galaxy, it looks like the thing from the movie, so it's like a cool little trinket, but I can also listen to a great soundtrack. And then, with that in mind, after I saw Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Awesome Mix Volume 2, or Awesome Mix Volume 3. So this cover kind of looks like an iPod, or mimicking an iPod, what was seen in the movie. And that's what that does too, which does kind of defeat the coolness value, because you're like, oh well, now it just looks like an iPod rather than a cassette. But I don't really care. Great soundtrack, tons of just great songs. Since You've Been Gone, Crazy on You, I love In the Meantime. So just a great soundtrack. A flea market pickup, Huey Lewis and the News, Small World. This is another one where it's not a bad album. There's just nothing on here that's particularly... I think there's one song that I ended up really, really gelling with. I think it's Walking with the Kid was the one that I really actually was like, you know what, that's actually really good. I mainly just bought it because it was an impulse buy. The second I walked into the flea market, I went, I'm never going to find any cassettes. I want to buy the first ones I see just to make sure, just in case I never find any other cassettes. So it's cool to have a Huey Lewis album. It's just not one that I really care for. Obviously, Sports is the one that I would love to have the most, because that's the one I know the most songs from. But, hey. Now, when I found this one at the flea market, I got ecstatic, because it's an album I like. It's Men at Work, Business as Usual, the only album I know from them, and the only album I like from them. The only problem is, I did not check to see the quality. I made the fatal mistake. This was my first flea market. The second flea market I went to, I definitely made sure to check the cassettes. This is in really poor condition. I think the obvious thing here is that it's a little discolored, but also the fuzzy bit is just completely gone. So this cassette has definitely been through the ringer of probably many, many, many plays over the years, and it's just super warbly. You can barely hear the music. It gets quiet. It gets normal volume, lowers pitch, higher pitch. It's nice to have on the kind of cassette shelf that I have, but sadly, yeah, it just doesn't work. It's a good album though. This was a garage sale find. Michael Jackson, Thriller. So honestly, out of all of the albums, this is kind of the one I want the most. Not because it's the best album or anything. There are songs that I like on here, but Thriller is definitely not one of my favorite Michael Jackson songs. But it's Thriller. It's his most popular album, so it's cool to have. Sadly, though, this cassette and one you'll see later, not in the greatest condition. You can play it. You can hear it, but it will fade out. It will, go quiet, go dim, be a little bit warbly at points. So it's probably on its way out, this cassette. This was an Amazon purchase. Bleach. Nirvana's first album, which I assume is why it's still available for purchase on Amazon. Because I mean, for a first album, it actually is pretty cool, and there are a couple songs on here I really enjoy. But I think the only reason it's still up is because it's Nirvana's first album. It's a little history piece, you know, and it's cool to have on the shelf. So, yeah, none of the songs you really know Nirvana for are on this album. This is a very, I think maybe About a Girl is probably the most popular song from this album, but, you know, the ones that they're, like, big known for are not on this album. This is another flea market find. Rat, Invasion of Your Privacy. So, very on the nose with the title of this. I like Rat. And it's a fine album. It's nothing really great about it, nothing really bad. It's just okay. But it's cool to have a Rat album. Again, you know, many of the kind of hair bands of the 80s that I actually do like. I want to have like at least one album of them just to kind of represent. So this one's pretty cool. This is from Limited Run Games. So they were releasing both a collection, a video game that you could buy, and the cassette. I bought the cassette. Rocket Knight Adventures Resparked. It's pretty cool. I bought the game as well. You know, it's just Rocket Knight Adventures on Sega Genesis, Rocket Knight on Super Nintendo, and Sparkster on Super Nintendo. Yeah, you know, it's soundtrack to Rocket Knight's fine. I enjoy the soundtrack. There's a few songs I like. Nothing really super amazing. It's your kind of standard affair for, you know, Konami's Genesis games, which, that is to say, it's not bad at all. But it was a really cool find. Don't particularly care for the baby blue cassette, but it's still cool. Still nice to see on the shelf. Another garage sale find, Steve Perry, Street Talk. This was by the same person that had the Michael Jackson album, and if, you know, as you can guess, it's also not in the best condition. Kind of warbly, kind of fades out, but, you know, it's still cool. Not a super big Steve Perry fan, in all honesty, though. There's, like, one song I like. It's on this album. I just... Oh, it's one of those where you have to open it. Okay, it's on the other side. Oh, Sherry. That's it. All right. So this was at another flea market. The same flea market that I bought this, and I think that's it, actually. So, again... the same exact impulse buy. It was like one person that just had all these. So I got Steve Winwood, Roll With It. Not the biggest fan of his stuff. I know one song from him, and I like that one song. So, you know, I saw it again, impulse buy. I was just like, oh, I gotta find a cassette quick. So I got this one. Again, another album that there's nothing particularly amazing on it. It's just a fine album. Nothing bad. Now this one's pretty cool. So, Limited Run had a thing going on. I really want to pick up cassettes whenever I find them on Limited Run. Except they have one out right now for a game called, like, Hyperion? Or like, or Worldion or something. I just don't really care. I'm sure the soundtrack's incredible, but I don't really care. But I did find this out, and I found it out a little bit late, which sucks. But TMNT, the Hyperstone Heist soundtrack. And it comes on a, honestly, kind of cheap-looking green cassette. But, you know, in terms of Konami soundtracks, like, the Hyperstone Heist soundtrack is awesome. I love the Hyperstone Heist soundtrack. But to be fair, you know, a lot of the songs are just reused from Turtles in Time. So that's mainly why I like it. But it's still really good. One that I don't care a lot about, though, is the TMNT Tournament Fighters soundtrack. I mainly just bought this because these were the last two. Sadly, I got to it too late, and I missed out on the NES games and Turtles in Time. I would have loved to have the Turtles in Time soundtrack, but sadly, I was only able to get these two before the pre-order period ended. Don't really like Tournament Fighter soundtrack. It's very generic, nothing that I remember. But hey, looks cool on the shelf, so there we go. The Beatles, 1962 to 1966. So I bought this at Joey Records. This is the one that I bought at the record store that I mentioned. And it's a really great catalog of Beatles songs. There is not a song on here that I can say is bad, and there's a lot of songs on here that I love. They had this, and then they had like 1967 to like 1969, and I could have bought that one, but definitely I love early Beatles. Later Beatles, there's definitely a lot of songs that are kind of hit and miss for me. But pretty much almost all these are like songs that I really think are good, so that was a great find. And then at the same record store, the Lion King soundtrack. So they had like 18 copies of this, so I guess nobody wants to listen to the Lion King soundtrack. They're all busy listening to the 2019 Lion King soundtrack. But still, it's really awesome on the shelf. I love the Lion King. Soundtrack's great, so yeah. And then the last thing I got at that record store, and honestly, my favorite, this was so cool to find, The Simpsons Sing the Blues. So this is season 1, and maybe a little bit of season 2 Simpsons. So this is like early days of Simpsons, really at the peak of its popularity, which most people would say, and including me, would say that that's not like the peak of Simpsons in quality. I'd say like 3 and onwards are, but this was really when Simpsons was everywhere. And we've got stuff like Do the Bartman, Deep Deep Trouble, Moan and Lisa Blues. But because it's so early on, you do get characters like from Moaning Lisa, a character with the saxophone guy that appears for like one episode, maybe another one. There was a lot of characters from season 1 that just left after season 1 because it was just experimenting with what characters you could include. Hot take, Deep Deep Trouble is actually way better than Do the Bartman. It's really catchy, Deep Deep Trouble. And look at these idiots. I listened to it for the first time today just to make sure that the cassette works, because I don't really, use these cassettes that often, and it was kind of sitting on the shelf, so I'm like, oh, okay, I'll try it out. And look at these idiots, the writing's actually really funny, and and it's Mr. Burns singing, so it's really odd. You never hear Mr. Burns sing. But this was a really, really awesome find, just so cool to have in my collection. And the semi-last one, I bought this at Vintage Stock. It's the SP used July 1st, 2024, 99 cents, COLLA bulk music. Yes! It's the Steven Spielberg / John Williams collaboration. There it is. I need to take off this sticker, but the Spookala. That's my favorite. It's just a collection of songs from Steven Spielberg movies. You got Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, E.T., Jaws, the ones that you would know about the most. It's good. I like songs. I like songs. It's like the most. I like these songs, but I don't listen to it that much, mainly because, while I like the Indiana Jones theme, it's not something that I really go out of my way to listen to on its own. And then, that was technically the last. We have 2 bonus records, or 2 bonus cassettes. And the reason they're bonuses is I don't care about the artists. I didn't buy these myself. These were gifted to me just because, these were gifted to me by my grandparents, because they didn't have a cassette player anymore, but they still happen to have these cassettes. So I don't care about this artist. I'm never going to listen to him. Never heard of him. But here goes. Dino. Yep, it's Dino. I don't know who this guy is, but it's 2 Christmas-themed cassettes, and I think he plays piano. He has a really funny face. it's just kind of the oddballs of my collection. I don't really care to know who this guy is. I've never heard of this guy, so there you go. But that's it. That is my entire cassette collection, and more to come. I have 4 spots left on my cassette rack, and then 6 if I want to take out Dino, which, you know, I will if it comes to chance. Dino will be gone. But yeah, so more to come. So that is it so far.